What's up, Moose Crew? We're back again with a gear review video, and today we are going to be comparing the Jetboil Flash 1 with the Stoke Voltaics Kettle pot. These are two very similar yet slightly different pots where everybody knows what the Jetboil is. New backpacker, old backpacker, someone has heard of the Jetboil Flash 1 liter. And I've actually never owned one in my entire life. My wife got me this one for Christmas, and I'm super excited to get to use it this summer. And then the Stoke Voltaic, it showed up on my Instagram, and I thought initially, you know, it's just another cook pot and stuff. But the difference between these two, just right off the bat, the Jetboil takes your classic little gas container, and this one runs off of electricity. So obviously from the get-go, this is definitely for more backcountry use, and this one is more for front country use. And I just really wanted to kind of break them down and get a little comparison before I use them. And then hopefully in about a year, when I've used them both pretty equally, I want to do an overall review of both of them. So let's get into them. So first, we're going to take a look at the Jetboil, the classic boy, the one everyone knows. And like I said, so this one runs off of gas. And, you know, it's supposed to be able to fit your fuel container in there. And I did not realize it was supposed to be the little fuel container because I typically only buy the big ones. But the little fuel container will fit inside of it. And so with just the standard package, you get 6 pieces, including the gas can. And so you have your little measuring and eating cup, the actual starter, if it wants to come out. So the starter, and then this is your little fuel canister stand. So and it will accept the big ones or the little ones, depending on which one you want to use. It's really hard for me to get it off because I ain't the smartest sometimes. Yeah, so it has a nice little stabilizer, which is super useful, and then the lid. And then, so when you attach it to the fuel canister, screw on, there you go. You'll hear the little hiss, and just screw it down all the way. And I guess that the new feature on this is that it has the little auto ignition on here, so it makes like the little, like, with the little electric start. And they added this nice little grip so then you won't burn your hands. And to anyone who's never used a Jetboil, do not put this on before you light it because it'll end up concentrating the gas and it can definitely explode. But yeah, so it takes a maximum of 500 milliliters of water or 16 ounces. And yeah, it's very lightweight, I have to say. I think all of it together without the gas can, it comes in at 13 ounces, and that's like 300 and something grams. So it's not the lightest, but it's also not the heaviest. And it retails for 150 bucks. And that's not the worst if you're on a budget and just want something that's gonna heat up food. But the main thing about Jetboil is that it's called the Jetboil Flash. And this one is specifically designed to just boil water as fast as you can. And so it's better for your dehydrated meals. I know you can cook other things in this, but if you want to be like really like cooking, Jetboil has some other stoves that allow you to actually adjust the intensity of the heat because this thing is just like one big rocket. And it advertises, I think, that it can boil water in about 2 minutes. When I did my little test, that was on a 30-degree day. That actually felt more like 18 degrees with just the wind chill. And it boiled it in about 2.5 minutes. But so, like I said, I don't know what temperatures they're measuring that time in, but that's just what mine is. And yeah, so these are all the nice little components. And the nice thing is that, like I said earlier, everything will nest right back into it, including the fuel canister if you have the little fuel canister. So I'm not taking that off right now. Next up, we're going to be looking at the Stoke Voltaics kettle pot. And like I said, this thing showed up on my Instagram feed, and I thought it was just another gas-powered little kettle pot to compete with the Jetboil. But then I saw that it was electric, and that has a very big appeal for me because I do a lot more car camping and stuff, so I don't necessarily need to be using the little gas containers, and the gas containers, they just produce a lot of waste, and then they can get expensive really, really fast if you're constantly burning through them. So that was the appeal for me to get the Stoke Voltaic. And so when I ordered this, it came with the little Java French press, and I did not order it, it just came with it when I got it. And yeah, I'm never gonna use it because I just drink instant coffee, but it is an option, same with the Jetboil. The only difference between Jetboil and this is that Stokes has a tea infuser. So if you're really big on teas, they have a little accessory for you. But yeah, so much like the Jetboil, everything will nest into it, except for the one thing that I think that Stokes should get rid of, because I don't really see a big point to it. And it is this little mixing stick. And yeah, it's like meant to mix up your food, and they threw it in and it can't nest into it. And the other thing is that when I'm camping, I have this thing called a long spork, and they're about the same size of each other, and I'm going to be using this to mix up my food because I'm already going to have it with me, and this is one less thing for me to bring and worry about losing. So I think that they should do away with that because I'm going to have my little titanium spork with me. But yeah, so the power cable they include it with, you go around the back and then you plug it in. They protect the little spokes for you, and then you just plug it in to a standard wall socket. And it works great because I have a Jackery, and that's how I used it when I did the testing for it. And this one will boil water at about 6 minutes 13 seconds on the day that I measured it, which like I said was a 30-degree day. Felt about 18, and the water was really, really cold. They advertise about 5 minutes, but there's always factors in that type of testing. My caveat though with the power plug is how come they don't have that like 12-volt cigarette lighter plug-in? Because if I'm car camping, like even though we don't have cigarette lighters anymore, we still have those little plug-ins, same for your phone charger. And I just think it would be really nice if they had that, because then I wouldn't necessarily have to be lugging my Jackery around every time. But it's fine, it works. It's not my biggest complaint. Yeah, and like I said, it holds the same amount of water as the Jetboil, and they have 3 functions of drink, eat, pop, because they really like to share for the fact that you can make popcorn in this. And I haven't done that function yet, but I'm excited to kind of try it. So yeah, and then this one weighs in at 24.5 ounces. This one is like 13 point something ounces. So obviously, you know, lighter, heavier, but completely different functions. Car camping, backcountry. You care about weight in the backcountry. You don't really care about weight when you're car camping. And something that they have similar, like I said, Java presses, but they also have almost the exact same little lid. They got the little sippy mouth and then the strainer. So they can both be used in that same way. And at the end of the day, they both boil water and they cook your food. Jetboil is just known, that's its whole thing. That's why it's called Jetboil, is that's supposed to boil your water as fast as you can. And this, I consider it more of like, you know, you're in camp, you're hanging out, you're being casual. I really don't care if it's gonna take me 6 minutes to boil my water, because, you know, a lot of times I'm hanging out with my friends, hanging out with my wife, whatever. But yeah, so I cannot wait to get to use both of these this summer in their respective habitats. And yeah, if you want to see the follow-up video, please consider liking and subscribing down below so you don't miss that video. And just, you know, leave a comment, tell me what you want me to review next. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great one. Thanks.